Greetings and welcome back to the Woldenburn Knitting and Crafting Podcast. My name is Emily and I am a wife and a mom and a homemaker in Kentucky in the United States, where I live with my wonderful husband Micah and our beautiful 2 little boys. I'm so glad to be here today, and I'm so glad that you are here joining me. It has been a good while since I have filmed a proper sit-down podcast. I have been filming some different little crafting vlogs and stuff for the last while, and it has been really lovely to make those. It's been much easier for me in my busy schedule as a mom of 2 little boys, and I've just so enjoyed that. But I've also missed the regular podcast format, so that's why I'm back here today. I am going to be talking about some finished objects, some works in progress. I have a little acquisition to share with you, and that's about it. So it is very likely that this video will have to be broken up into separate chunks of filming, just because my toddler's not napping very well today, or he hasn't napped at all so far. The baby could wake up at any moment, and it's just a little bit chaotic, but I really wanted to just sit down and film. So here we are. Let's talk about some finished objects. First off, I thought I would share this one. This is a crocheting finished object, and this is actually a very, very, very long-term work in progress. I started this, I think, either when I was still pregnant with my first little boy, or it may have been shortly after he was born. It is a little flannel blanket that I made that I got a yard of fabric and then hemmed all of the edges, and then I wanted to add a little crochet trim onto it. And here it is. So this was just a really cute flannel fabric that I found, and I thought it would make a very sweet little Christmassy blanket. I had intended to finish it in time for Christmas, but that didn't happen. Here we are, like 2 years later. So I finally pulled it back out. I kept forgetting that I even had this as a work in progress, because we moved and it was packed away in a different box and all that. So I just used some like cotton thread that I had, and I added some trimming around the edge. I just did 2 rounds of single crochet stitch, and I thought that was just a really pretty simple little edging to the blanket. Do I really need another baby blanket? No, I have a decent amount, but I'm really, really happy to have it done, and it is no longer a work in progress. So that is something that's very simple, very easy. If you have either your baby, you're expecting a baby, or you have friends that are going to have a baby, or grandchildren or whatever, this is a really sweet, cute little gift. And actually, I literally just had the realization that I know exactly what I'm going to do with this. I have a baby in my life that's going to be born in December, and this is going to be the perfect little blanket for it. That's so cool. Oh man, I just found out that this baby is happening, arriving just this past weekend, and it's very, very exciting. So, that's going to be so perfect. Yes, so like I said, I do not need any more baby blankets. I have made a number, I've received a number as gifts. Like, I don't need any more. That's not to say that I won't be making more if I have more children, because I will, but that one can go as a gift, and I'm very excited about that now. The next finished object is a much more exciting one in my mind. I have worn this half a day already, so it might be a little bit crumpled, but I finished my Tulsa Tee, my most recent one. This is knit out of the Lion brand 24/7 cotton in the worsted weight in the magenta colorway, and it's a 100% cotton, that word. And this is the Tulsa Tee pattern by Rebecca of the Creabea podcast. I've realized I'd like to get some sort of little like personalized tags or labels that I can stitch into the back of my sweaters, because it would be really nice. I always have to like check for the short rows to see which is the front and the back. But just to quickly show you how it looks, I'm so pleased with this. It fits exactly how I wanted it to. I did either the 3rd or 4th size, I can't remember for sure, with the F cup bust shaping. And it has just turned out so well. I can't remember off the top of my head now. I think I used maybe a US 6 or 4mm needle for the body, and then like a US 4 or 3.5mm for the ribbing. I think that's what I ended up doing. But let me kind of get up on my knees here. It just turned out so perfectly, perfect length, fits beautifully. It's amazing. The only downside that I have found is that I can't wear this. It's just too warm. I'm just so bummed because I was really hoping that since it was cotton and everything that it would be cool enough that I could wear it even though it's like summer weather now. I was like, oh, it's cotton, like if I can just wear it like a t-shirt. I can't. I tried to do that the other day and I just got so boilingly hot. I had to take it off like a few hours into the day and put just a normal t-shirt on, so I'm disappointed about that, but it does mean that I will have a really lovely fall and winter and spring top to wear, so it's okay. I think I'm just coming to the realization that in my season of life right now, where I just am running so warm, I have some different health stuff that's been going on and we're trying to figure that out, and I am just so warm all the time that it's probably not really practical for me to try to make any sort of garments to wear in the summertime. I just need to wear them in the spring or the fall or the winter and go with that. It's a little sad because I would love it to have a bunch of tops like this. They're so cute, they're so flattering, and I can make them exactly the length that I want. They're stretchy, so they're comfortable, like it would be perfect. But at least for right now, because I don't have any fingering weight cotton to try and make something, I could see that working if I have a really lightweight cotton yarn to use, but as I've mentioned in my videos before, I'm really honing into not buying any yarn this year, and so I can't just go out and buy some cotton, fingering weight cotton. So maybe next year that's something that I'll try, but for right now, with the stuff that I have in my stash, I just don't have the things to make really lightweight summer garments. So I love it. I highly recommend the pattern. I'm definitely making more. I have some thoughts for making like a scrappy version, and maybe I just need to like make a long sleeve Tulsa tee, or long sleeve Tulsa, and do like a sweater version. But I love this pattern. It is so amazing. The bust shaping is fantastic for me. So there's that finished object, and I think, it is. The last finished object that I have is another just random one. I finally finished this little baby hat. I made it based off of the classic ribbed hat from Pearl Soho. I believe the actual designer is Jake Canton, and I used worsted weight yarn. I used a US size 3 or 3.25mm needle to make it, but because I used worsted weight yarn, I did fewer stitches. I can't remember now exactly how many I did, but I think it's a free pattern, so I think the stitch counts for each size are in increments of 12, so I just did that many fewer, because with the worsted weight yarn it ends up bigger and yada yada. So I finally finished this. I was making this out of some scraps of yarn that I had. These are some different colors of Knit Picks Felici worsted. So I had, I think from the orange down is one colorway. It was like Friendly Skies or something. Oh no, the yellow down. And then I think from the brown to this like pale cream color was like, I don't remember, Cabin something. And then for the very top, I actually had to pull out this skein, which is Vegas Baby is the colorway. And This is the Knit Picks Felici. This was gifted to me a couple years ago by, I believe, yeah, it was Susan from Delightful Work. She sent me this most amazing package of yarn and bags and things, and it was so lovely. I felt very spoiled. So I ended up being able to use this yarn. I made my toddler a hat out of both of these, the Friendly Skies and whatever this one is called. And then I used the scraps from both of those. Sorry, the light is in and out today. We've had some crazy weather the last few days, so. But I used the scraps from both of those to make my husband a hat. And then I still had some left over, so I was like, well, I'll make a baby hat. And again, now that I think about it, I may end up giving this to the same baby that I give the other one to, because this is much too small for my baby to wear anymore. And there's not much point in it hanging around for a future baby when I can just give it to a baby who can wear it now or after they're born. But yeah, so I ended up having to use, as you can see, like 4 stripes from this. And I just wanted to make sure that I didn't use, because it's very boyish in my mind, I didn't want to use any of the pink from this one. So I just made sure, it worked out really well, that where the ball started was on the blue. And so it didn't have any of the pink in it by the time I finished it. So very simple, very fun, cute little knitted project, and it will keep some baby cozy and warm. That brings us to my works in progress, which actually works because I am experimenting with trying to make myself a hat out of this Vegas Baby colorway of Felici worsted. So you can see what it looks like knitted up. It's so much fun. The colors are just amazing. So I am sort of making my version of the Musselburgh hat by Tulsa Tee, I believe. Everybody and their sisters, mothers, cousins seems to have made this hat. And I just really didn't want to buy the pattern, so I decided to try and use the, I believe it's called the 4 squared hat or hat squared pattern by Cheryl from Wise On Knits. So I used that pattern as a jumping off point, and that's a free pattern that you can access on our website, and it's basically the same concept of hat, where you start at one end, work some increases, then you work a long tube, and then you do some decreases, then you fold one side inside the other, and then you have a nice really cozy hat. I am using a US size 3 or 3.25 millimeter needle. So my gauge is pretty snug. So I think I increased up to 112 stitches. I think that's what I ended up doing. And instead of doing, I didn't want the really stark like 4 points of increase. So I ended up increasing it to, I think, 8 points of increase. And my middle is kind of messy. Don't mind that. So right now, I'm just kind of in the knit portion. I'm hoping this fits. I think it will, because it seems like it's a good size. But again, like I said, I'm kind of winging it. So right now, it's just a really fun, chill, knitting around sort of a project, and I'm enjoying it. Like I said, we'll see if it works. I hope that I have enough yarn. I'm pretty sure I'm going to run out. I don't think I'm going to be able to do the full length. So if any of you happen to have any scraps of Knit Picks Felici worsted that you don't want or aren't using, message me. I'd love to have them. But yeah, so this is just a really fun, chill, kind of boring project, but I'm really happy to be using this yarn up, because I've been meaning to make myself, almost 2 years ago now, I made the hats for my toddler, and I had these 3 skeins of Felici worsted. And so I knew that this one was going to be a hat for me because it's got the pink in it, and everyone else in my family is a boy and they don't need pink hats. And so I just hadn't gotten around to making my hat out of this Felici worsted, which is a very cozy, lovely yarn. I really do enjoy working with it. So I'm really excited to be finally making one for me. So that's whip number 1. Then we're going to do whip number 2. This is one that you guys have seen. Oh man, I did not realize I had knit that much on it. I haven't pulled this out and actually looked at it. I've just been like knitting and knitting away on it. So this is the sweater that I'm currently knitting for my toddler. And yeah, that is definitely looking long enough in the body now. I had intended to get it finished this past winter, but I just didn't get it done in time. So I'm trying to make it long enough that he'll fit it this fall. But I think that that's plenty long now. If I go any longer, I know I'm going to run out of yarn. So this is based off of the Tweety Jr. pattern by Beta Jessic from Hedgehog Pipers, and it's just a really cute, simple raglan sweater. I'm striping. I do 6 rounds of the blue and 3 rounds of the green, and I'm using, it's like Ella, I always forget. It's like Ella Ray Cozy Soft or something. It's a, yeah, Ella Ray Cozy Soft. 75% acrylic and 25% wool, and it is a DK weight is what it says it is. So I've just been working away at this, and like I said, I didn't realize I'd done this much in the body. I think that's plenty long enough. It's so exciting. I'm so happy now. I'm just gonna stop using the green and then just do maybe one more round in the blue and then start the ribbing, which is so exciting. This is one of those patterns that has just felt like it is taking forever. So that's really exciting. Okay, and then I can get started on the sleeves and it'll be done, which I'm very happy about. There's that one. And then I have the next 3 are just long-standing whips. I'm kind of in a finish up my whips mood, and it's been so much fun. It's been so lovely. I've just been like finishing things. Like this one I started last July, so it's been on my needles for almost a year. That hat has been on the needles for months. That blanket was on the needle or on the hook for like 2+ years. So I'm kind of in the mood of like finishing things. And now that I've started finishing some things, I even more so want to like finish things. So I pulled out my husband's, it's the Everyday Bomber by like Zanette Knits or something. I pulled it out. There's not a huge amount of visible progress to it, but my sister had a wedding this past weekend, and I just pulled it out and worked on it a few rows on the way down there. So it was about a 4-hour drive, and I was riding with my sister, my older sister, and so I didn't have to drive, so I was able to do some knitting. I didn't do much. I think I probably only did about 1 inch more because I'm past the sleeves and I'm working on the body, so I have miles to go of stockinette back and forth flat. So not a huge amount of progress, but I have pulled it back out. I am working on it, and I think I'm just going to try and keep going, like 1 or 2 rows here and there and get it done. Like, that would be lovely. So again, not much to say about this one, but I am working on it. And then it's the same thing for the next one. I haven't done a ton of work on it, but I have pulled it back out and I have done some work on it, which this one in particular feels really like monumental because it's been languishing for so long. I think again I cast this on the summer before I had my first baby, and so it's been hanging around for almost 3 years at this point. But it's my Patchwork Blanket, and I am very happy with it. I have done, you know, again, just a few rows on this square. I had to like figure out how to like do the decrease and stuff. Like you can kind of see here, I'm not going to go back and rip it out, but you can see I messed up the decreases down here for the center because I couldn't remember how I was doing them because it's been so long that I've worked on it. But I pulled it back out again with this one. I'm just going to try and do a few rows here and there and get some squares done. This is just supposed to be like more of a lap size blanket, so it doesn't have to be huge to be done. But yes. So, last work in progress to talk about is the one that I am most excited about and is probably going to get the most amount of work because I love this pattern so much. This is my 3rd time knitting this pattern, and this is going to be a particularly cute version of said pattern. I'm like winging some colorwork bits and stuff, and I'm just, I was working on it this morning and yesterday, and I'm just so excited. So this is my Christmas Fosette. I'm working on it slowly, and yeah, I had to, yesterday I ripped out pretty much all the work that I had. I ripped back to the ribbing because I had forgotten to put short rows in the back neck. The pattern doesn't come with short rows, but in my second version of this pattern, or both versions of the pattern that I have made, I have added short rows into it. The first version, I added short rows after the yoke, before splitting for the sleeves, and then in the second version, I added it at the neck. I felt a little bit more comfortable and advanced in my knitting skills, and so it didn't intimidate me to just wing adding some short rows in the back. So I did the same thing here. I just winged it. I don't know if I did right or wrong or whatever, but I put some short rows in the back here. And I am just slowly working my way through it. Like I said, I'm kind of making up my own thing for some of the color work. So for this row, it's supposed to be a bobble row, but I wanted small bobbles, and I made them contrast bobbles. So they're like little berries. And it's just so cute. They turned out so cute. I'm so pleased with it. So yeah, and because I did that, I had to rework some of the like knit one, slip one rows and stuff, so I moved some of that around, but I'm so happy with it. And again, this is out of some more of the LRA Cozy Soft, in, I've got the red, oh man, these balls like just make such a mess. And then white, and then I'm going to be adding in the green very shortly, and I'm very excited about it. And my plan is I'm also going to do some tweaking. There's one section of the pattern where there's like some color work where it's like 1x1 color work and stuff, and I'm going to change that up and make, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do either do 1x1 of the same two colors, kind of like the Kintra sweater that I knit recently where it'll just be like stripes of red and white, or I can try and do like diagonal lines, almost like candy cane vibes, and I'm very excited to get to that part. I'm almost there, but yes, I love this pattern. I highly recommend this pattern. I am going to be making more versions of this pattern. Same as with the Tulsa Tee. This one, the Tulsa and the Fosette, have kind of become some tried and true knitting patterns for me, so highly recommend both of them. Yes, it's gonna be so cute. I'm so excited. So that is all the work in progress that I have to share with you today. Like I said, I do have an acquisition. I did allow myself to get some yarn this past weekend because I had the thought that it would be really fun to get some yarn to make my sister who got married, to make her a gift for her birthday or Christmas later this year, from yarn that I purchased on her wedding weekend. So it's like a commemorative, like, wedding yarn thing. So I went ahead and grabbed a skein of yarn. Okay, so this is the yarn that I grabbed. It's in the Ravelry Red colorway. It is Malabrigo sock, approximately 440 yards for 100 grams. It is 100% superwash merino wool, and that's about all to tell about it. I think my plan with this was to make a cowl, and my sister's birthday is in December, so I was like, that'll be perfect. I can give it to her for December, and she'll have like this really cheery, Christmassy, fun red cowl to wear. So I'm really happy with this. I haven't 100% decided what pattern I'm going to be using. I have thought that I could make another pretty little cowl, which is a pattern that I've made like 4 or 5 times at this point. That would be really cute. I have thought that I could make like a lacy type of a cowl, but I'm leaning more towards like a texture, so either garter or some type of a texture stitch cowl. But it's gonna be so beautiful. So there's that. Alright, so that is all of the knitting content that I have. We're going to do a tiny bit of like life update. I know, like I said, I've been doing these vlogs, so I've been pretty chatty about my life and everything recently. But, well, that's the baby. So we may have to cut this short. Let me go get him, and we'll see if I can do a tiny bit of life update. Okay, I got baby here. He did good at napping. The toddler did not nap today. So, that is not happening. Yeah, like I said, it was my sister's wedding this weekend. I was the matron of honor. It was a beautiful wedding. Honestly, one of the most beautiful, if not the most beautiful wedding I have attended. My sister and my new brother-in-law are just the sweetest couple. They're so cute. My sister looks stunning in her dress, and it was so beautiful. Like, when she walks down the aisle, like, everybody's sobbing. My brother-in-law is crying, or the groom was crying, and like my sister's crying, and my mom's crying, and his parents are crying. Everybody was crying. It was so like joyful, happy, like beautiful, beautiful. The ceremony itself was gorgeous. Like, the officiant pastor man that they had doing it did a fantastic job. I really, really actually enjoyed it. It felt like a little long, but like everything that he was talking about was just, oh, I loved it. They did so beautiful. And then they did it at the end of the ceremony, right before they get announced as, you know, Mr. and Mrs. They had everybody stand up and sing the doxology, which was just gorgeous. That was such a good idea. I loved it. So that was really lovely. And then we came home to find that half of one of our trees had fallen down in the backyard while we were gone. There was some crazy weather that happened, and it just, there's like this huge portion of a tree in the backyard. And we are so, so grateful that it fell the way that it did, where it almost entirely missed the house. It like grazed kind of the gutters and the roof in one section, but it didn't like crunch the house, which was such a blessing, because that would have been a nightmare to come home to. It crunched my garden, but thankfully all of my plants were fine. I was able to kind of clear out the branches just around the plants. We've got to wait, and we're going to borrow a chainsaw from my husband's family and kind of get it cleaned up, but it could have been so much worse. So yeah, that was crazy though, because like, there's a tree down in our backyard. But other than that, nothing too crazy going on at the moment. It's a busy season of life for my family. I have another one of my younger siblings that's getting married in like 2 weeks. So we have a long trip. We're going to be going out to South Carolina with that, and so we've got a lot of driving, but we're also planning to do that and be gone for about a week, staying with my family, which is going to be really nice. We're going to get to hang out with them, spend some time with them, and the kids will get to be around my parents and my siblings, and that'll be really lovely. So that's coming up here. That kid is walking everywhere and getting into everything, which is bonkers. But yeah, other than that, we don't really have too much going on. We're really trying to keep it pretty chill because we have such a busy wedding season. We've got weddings 3 weeks apart. Hi. Yeah, so throwing my phone. What are you doing? I've been trying to sneak in bits of knitting here and there and just work on different projects, and the boys both have like this little like snotty cold thing, which is really sad and pitiful, but thankfully so far it hasn't been too bad. They've just been kind of runny nose, and they'll sneeze and we'll be like, wipe the nose, like, because there's stuff everywhere. Yeah, so this little stinker is going to try and grab my camera tripod and start shaking things around, so I'm going to go ahead and end it here. Thank you so much for watching and following along. I hope that you're doing well and you're having a lovely spring and you're staying healthy and you're working on some beautiful knitting projects. And remember that knitting is something to do for joy, not just to rush through and finish and start the next project. Something I'm trying to remind myself, so I'm reminding you too. But anyway, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!